Hi there, thanks for coming along on my solo hiking and camping trip at a national forest nearby where I live. And just recently in the past week, I took the liberty of taking 6 business days off for a total of 10 days of rest. And I have to say, I think this is the longest paid time off I've taken from work in about 5 years, where I got to unplug from technologies and devices and rather soak in and plug into nature, taking in the sights, the sounds, the smells of so much beauty, like this waterfall. So I'm on my way. I'm still about 1 hour 25 minutes out. My problem is that I'm really hungry and grumpy because I'm hangry. Stopping by really quickly for some coffee and some bites. I found a way down to the river or waterfall. So I know which way to go swim. Gotta head back to my car. I'm out of breath. I'm gonna go to my campsite. It'll take me probably about 40 minutes to get back to my car. So beautiful, look at this. I'm so grateful. Oh, so beautiful. So peaceful. Bugs. Too many bugs. All right, let's get back on track. On my way back to the car. Okay. I have about a mile to go. All right, so I finished my 2.2 mile hike, back in my car, changed shoes, and I'm gonna head to my campsite. Time is 1:45, and my campsite should be available to me starting at 2. Hopefully no one is there, but ooh, that was good. I figured a way out how to get down to the falls and swim. I'm wearing my bathing suit, and yeah, but I forgot a towel, so next time I'll be prepared I'm hoping that I can wake up early in the morning to go for a swim before everybody starts hiking and stuff. And it'll be a Thursday, so I'm hoping that it'll be very quiet. It's very quiet today. I've only seen a total of about 3 people, so that feels really good. So after about a 2-hour hike of 2.5 miles up and down the river, I went to my campsite after 2 p.m. to set up a tent for the first time in my life. And that was part of the challenge of this getaway, was to really put myself to the test in a brand new environment to see how self-sufficient I could be, resilient to any new challenges. And also the doldrums and status quo really put me in a state of complacency where I really gained a lot of weight, have been out of shape, and my anxiety and stress levels were almost to the breaking point where I feel like I could have a mental breakdown at any point. So I thought, what better way to shake it up and get me out of this funk than to escape to the forest and try something brand new, completely out of my element, and something for me to do on my own. So I made sure to do some research before I did embark on this on my own. I watched a YouTube video on how to quickly set up a tent for beginners, and made sure to take notes, mental notes, and I was able to replicate basically the steps. The key thing is to make sure that I lay everything out in order and basically follow the instructions. That's all it took. Such is life, everything was going smoothly until the part I had to get the tent to actually pop up, be erect, and that proved to be a challenge. Even though all the poles were connected and I had made good progress, it took a lot more finagling and manipulating the poles to get the tent in the posture or position that it should be in. So I had quite a good time doing that. Now, after breaking quite a bit of a sweat, I was finally able to get the tent into the shape, the general shape that it should be. And at this point, I was so proud. I got it done about 90%. I just needed to put on the rainfly and secure it more tightly. But I was just happy to make progress this much in a relatively short amount of time. Now for the final 10%, I just need to get the rainfly attached, and that proved to be the greatest challenge of this tent. I just could not figure it out for about 10 minutes, and there were no instructions on how to put the rainfly. I essentially had to follow the design and my instincts on what it should be. It took so long that at one point I thought about giving up, but I thought, well, God help me. Take two. If I don't try, then it could possibly rain and I would be completely soaked, and I didn't want that to happen. I did it. I pitched the tent for the first time in my life. It took me about 35 minutes. That was intense. The ground was so hard that my stakes wouldn't go through. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm making a little window. Oh, over there. Yeah. I am hungry. I've worked up an appetite. Time is around 2:40, I think, 2:40, 2:45. So I felt like it took a lot longer than the actual amount of time I took. It feels like 2 hours, but only about 40 minutes have passed since I came onto my site. I'm going to now start bringing stuff into here, inflate my bed. Bon appetit. at how spicy it is. I could have some cheese. Helps a little bit. Maybe I should have gotten a different ramen. But I like that it's dry, so that there's no real mess afterwards. But my God, it's hot. So I continued enjoying my nuclear fire chicken ramen in peace inside my tent. I had originally actually faced out and was eating, but I noticed that as campgoers were spilling in around 3:30 and 4, they were walking around the campgrounds, and the trees don't really shield you much. It's not densely forested in that campground for some reason, so you could see everything. They were actually looking at me as they were walking by and staring, and I found that to be very rude and also uncomfortable for me. I was hoping for a more isolated, private experience, but I don't regret going. However, I do consider that a ding for this campground and will be mindful of it in the future. But essentially, when a person passed by, they were less than like 10 or 15 feet away from me. I could hear all their conversations. They could see me and hear me. So I decided to dine inside my tent. And just when I thought I had energy to go out, I was way too tired and needed a really quick nap, or so I thought. More like I slept the next 6 hours. Oh my God, the time is 9. What time is it? 9:43. It sounded like 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet. I heard a gunshot. It sounded like a gunshot. That's unusual. And also, you hear people like talking, coming in and out of cars. I had such a scary nightmare of people trying to enter my tent, and I've got my knife and my stun gun for self-defense. I had a scary nightmare where people were entering my tent and I had to kill them all. It was really scary. And I tried to fall back asleep. Too many unsettling feelings. Good morning. Despite the unsettling gunshot that I heard at a far distance and my neighbors being a little bit chatty till around 12:30 or 1 a.m., I managed to sneak in about, I think, 5.5 or 6 hours of sleep. And I felt pretty good, actually. It was quite comfortable, not too cold, and I was ready to get the day started. So I got up hoping to take another hike, but this time from the lower Lewis Falls to the middle falls and come back for a total of about 2.5 mile hike. But my body wasn't feeling too well. I was very bloated, and I also had disturbed sleep because the neighbor campgoers were a bit rowdy and loud well into midnight and past midnight. And I was finally able to fall back asleep around 1 a.m., I think. But in any case, I decided that I should at least wash my face and go for a cold water dip beneath the waterfall, which was something that I had on my agenda. So I shortened my agenda for the day, and I'm glad that I did. So I heated up some water before it was boiling, just to the point that it wasn't scalding, so that I could make some warm water to wash my face with and brush my teeth. And I decided that the waterfall dip will be my total shower, where I get my entire body and hair wet. And yeah, this is the preparation before I head over to the falls. Still shaking. Sorry, I'm shivering. I think I had a near-death experience. Almost got swept away by the river. The current was so strong when I was crossing to and from. Going back was more stressful. I slipped and hurt my finger. I don't know if I broke it or not, but it was bleeding a lot. I squeezed out my blood and antiseptic wash. I have a saline wash as well. I'm hungry. I ate some sweet potato, but I'm gonna make myself some oatmeal, get myself together, start packing, and then go home. I had breakfast and I feel a little bit better. Made myself a black bean and cheese quesadilla. Finally starting to calm down from, I think, shock of almost being swept away by a river. I still can't believe it. Just trying to reconcile what happened, where I am, and also I need to get the energy to start packing all of this. I'm glad I took this trip. It affirmed kind of beliefs, I guess you could say. It was a meaningful trip. After the invigorating cold water dip at the waterfall, a near drowning accident that could have been a lot worse, it was time for me to get my mind together and start packing. So, regardless of what happened, I just tried to be as calm and collected as possible, but I'm not going to lie, I was shaking intermittently and still kind of in shock from what I had just gone through earlier in that morning. Nonetheless, I felt like just taking down my campsite, dismantling everything was easy peasy compared to what I had just gone through. I felt that this was a really good initiation to really test my resiliency and my self-determination, resolve, and self-sufficiency. And that, one day I would like to experience more of the off-grid type of camping or lifestyle at least once. And I felt like this was a good initiation, good start to help me graduate to that level. And even though I had gone through something relatively traumatic, it felt even more gratifying to be out there in nature, getting in touch with myself and my soul, like basically something so much more fundamental to existing and surviving and living on this planet. I was looking forward to coming back, and definitely not looking forward to going back to the corporate grind of the 9 to 5, technically 5:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., which is my normal work schedule. So I finally finished cleaning my campsite. It looks exactly the way it did when I came here. Let me just say, I'm exhausted. My ring finger is still swollen. I wore my medical gloves to prevent any kind of infection since I have an open wound here. I'm just going to look at it and make sure that the swelling goes down because I might have a fracture. I don't know. In any case, I'm about 1 hour, 20 minutes away from my next coffee stop. So let's head back.